The red dust of Mars swirled across the viewport of Medical Outpost 7 as Dr. James Walker finished his last cup of coffee for the day. He needed to do his evening perimeter check before the temperature dropped too low. It was a routine he had followed for the past 3 years at this remote station, far from the main Martian colonies. The outpost sat in an interesting location, right between the massive alien embassy complex and the human settlements. Walker often wondered why the aliens chose to build their facilities so far from the human cities, but he guessed they preferred their privacy. They rarely interacted with humans anyway, considering them too primitive for meaningful contact. As he put on his environment suit, the outpost's basic scanner picked up something unusual. A small blip, moving too fast and too erratic to be normal traffic. Walker watched through the reinforced windows as a streak of light cut across the dark Martian sky. "That's not good," he muttered, sealing his helmet. Whatever it was coming down, and coming down hard. The object crashed about half a kilometer from his outpost, leaving a trail of debris across the red soil. Walker didn't hesitate. Search and rescue was part of his job, and on Mars, minutes could mean the difference between life and death. He took his medical kit and hurried to the crash site in his small rover. The vehicle wasn't fancy like the floating cars the aliens used, but it was reliable. As he got closer, he saw the wreckage wasn't from any human ship he recognized. The metal had a strange, almost organic look to it. That's when he saw her. Through a crack in the ship's hull, a slender figure lay motionless. Her skin had a pale blue tint, and her features were delicate but clearly not human. She was one of the younger aliens, probably not even an adult by their standards. Walker's medical scanner showed she was still alive, but barely. Her vital signs were weak and getting weaker. He keyed his emergency radio, calling both the alien embassy and his own command. "This is Medical Outpost 7. We have a crashed alien vessel with an injured survivor, requesting immediate medical assistance." The alien response came first, cold and formal. "Human medical officer, this is not your jurisdiction. Do not interfere. We will handle the situation." But minutes passed, and no alien vehicles appeared. Walker called again and again. Each time, the responses became more dismissive. His human superiors were equally unhelpful, telling him to stay away from alien matters. The girl's breathing was getting worse. Strange. Luminescent blood seeped from several wounds. Walker knew waiting any longer could mean death. "To hell with jurisdiction," he said, carefully lifting her from the wreckage. She was lighter than he expected, almost fragile. Her skin felt cool to the touch, even through his gloves. As he drove back to his outpost, he saw lights in the distance. Alien vehicles, finally approaching the crash site. But they weren't heading toward his outpost. They were just securing the wreckage, ignoring the fact that he had the survivor. Inside his medical bay, Walker faced a new challenge. All his equipment was calibrated for humans. The girl's anatomy was completely different. Extra organs he didn't recognize, a cardiovascular system that seemed to work backwards from what he knew. But basic medical principles had to apply. Stop the bleeding. Maintain breathing. Prevent shock. He could do this. He had to. As he worked, her eyes fluttered open for a moment. They were deep purple, with no pupils, but the fear in them was unmistakably human-like. She tried to speak, but only managed a weak whisper in her language. "You're safe," Walker said, knowing she probably couldn't understand him. "I'm going to help you, I promise." He didn't know it then, but that promise would change everything. For him, for her, and for the relationship between humans and aliens on Mars. The first few hours were the hardest. Dr. Walker worked nonstop, trying to understand the alien girl's injuries. His medical scanner kept giving him error messages. It simply wasn't designed for her biology. But he noticed something worse. Her skin was starting to develop strange patterns, like frost on a window. A loud bang on the outpost's door made him jump. Through the security screen, he saw 3 tall alien officials in their flowing robes. Their expressions were impossible to read, but their tone wasn't. "Human doctor, you will transfer the patient to our medical facility immediately," the tallest one demanded. Walker looked at the girl on his medical bed. Her breathing had just started to stabilize. Moving her now could kill her. "I'm sorry, but she's not stable enough to move," he replied firmly. "Your people had their chance to help. Where were you an hour ago?" "Our systems show she has severe radiation poisoning from her ship's damaged core. Your primitive facility cannot handle this level of contamination. You risk your own life." Walker's heart skipped a beat. Radiation poisoning. That explained the strange patterns on her skin. But he had already exposed himself. If he was going to die anyway, he might as well save her first. "Then help me treat her here," he suggested. "Bring your equipment." The aliens looked at each other, their antennae twitching in what Walker had learned was discomfort. "Our medical devices are not permitted in human facilities. It is against protocol." "Then I'll do it myself," Walker said, closing the communication channel. He turned back to his patient, mind racing. Human treatments for radiation poisoning might work, but he'd have to modify everything. He started with the basics. His outpost had radiation treatment kits. All Mars facilities did, given the planet's weak magnetic field. The medicine would need to be adjusted for her body mass and metabolism, which he estimated based on her size and the limited readings he could get. Hours passed. Walker kept working, modifying treatments, monitoring her vital signs through basic observation when his equipment failed. He noticed her blood seemed to glow brighter when he administered certain medicines, dimmer with others. He started using this as a guide. The alien girl drifted in and out of consciousness. During one lucid moment, she managed to point at herself and whisper something that sounded like a string of musical notes. Walker tried to repeat it, but failed completely. "I'll just call you Blue for now," he said gently, noting how her skin's blue tint deepened when she was more alert. "I'm James Walker. But everyone calls me Doc." She blinked her purple eyes in what he hoped was understanding. More alien officials came. Some threatened, others tried to bribe him with advanced technology. One even offered him a position at their medical facility, after he handed over the patient, of course. He refused them all. By the third day, Walker was exhausted but hopeful. Blue's radiation levels were dropping. He had jerry-rigged a treatment system using parts from his radiation suit, some medical supplies, and pure stubbornness. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. The real surprise came on the morning of the fourth day. Walker was checking Blue's vital signs when he noticed an alien watching through the medical bay window. Unlike the officials, this one wore simple clothes, their version of a doctor's uniform. The alien made a gesture, then held up a small device. It was a medical scanner, more advanced than anything Walker had seen. The alien doctor looked both ways, then quickly placed it by the door and hurried away. Walker smiled. Maybe not all aliens were bound by their rigid protocols. He picked up the scanner. It immediately analyzed Blue's condition and suggested treatments, confirming he had been on the right track. As he adjusted her medication based on the new readings, Blue reached out and weakly touched his hand. Her skin was warmer now, closer to normal. In that moment, Walker knew that whatever consequences came from his decision to help her, it had been worth it. Looking at his new alien medical scanner, he realized something else. He might have just found an ally in breaking down the barriers between their peoples, one medical treatment at a time. 1 week had passed since Blue crashed near Medical Outpost 7. Dr. Walker sat at his desk, reviewing his treatment notes. The alien medical scanner from the mysterious doctor had helped tremendously, but he still relied mostly on basic human medical knowledge. Sometimes the simplest solutions worked best. He looked up as Blue made a musical chirping sound, her way of getting his attention. She was sitting up now, much stronger than before. Her blue skin had regained its healthy glow, and the radiation burns were healing nicely. "Hungry again?" Walker asked, smiling. He had discovered that Blue could eat most human food after running it through his medical analyzer. She particularly loved strawberry yogurt, of all things. Blue pointed at his medical books. Actual paper books he kept as backups. Want. Learn, she said carefully. Her translator was working better now, though complex sentences still gave her trouble. Walker grabbed his basic anatomy textbook and sat beside her bed. He had been teaching her about human medicine, and she proved to be a quick learner. Her purple eyes widened with interest as he opened to a chapter about the human heart. Your heart is here. He pointed to his chest, then gently touched the spot on her right side where her heart-like organ was located. Mine is here. Different place. Same job. As he explained basic human circulation, 3 more alien doctors watched through the window. This had become common. Younger alien medical staff would secretly observe his treatments. They seemed fascinated by how he combined their advanced scanner with simple human techniques. Human medicine. Interesting, Blue said, touching the book's diagrams. We only use machines. No understanding. Just follow computer. Walker nodded. He had noticed this about alien medicine. They relied completely on their technology, rarely understanding the underlying principles. When their machines failed, they were lost. Blue suddenly grabbed his arm, her expression serious. Others wrong about humans, she said slowly, choosing her words carefully. Think you primitive. But you understand more. Feel more. She pointed at her chest, where Walker had improvised a bandage using simple gauze when the alien healing patches had caused an allergic reaction. Machines say patch good, but you see problem. You think. You feel. You change. Walker felt his throat tighten with emotion. Coming from her, this meant everything. Just then, his outpost communication system crackled to life. Medical Outpost 7. This is Dr. Miller from Mars Central Hospital. We hear you're treating an alien patient. Walker tensed, expecting another scolding. But Dr. Miller's next words surprised him. We'd like to learn about your treatment methods. Several alien medical apprentices have requested training in human medical techniques. They say you've achieved something remarkable. Blue chirped happily, grabbing her translator. I tell them. Send messages to young doctors. Show them human way is good way too. Walker laughed, realizing she had been doing more than just learning. She had been teaching too, sending messages to the alien medical community about her treatment. Just then, the door chime rang. Outside stood the alien doctor who had given them the scanner, this time with 2 others. They held more medical equipment. We wish to learn, they said through their translators. Your human touch. It is different. Special. As Walker let them in, Blue started explaining his treatment methods in her musical language. The alien doctors listened intently, taking notes. Walker watched in amazement as they began asking questions, wanting to understand the reasoning behind each decision he had made. Sometimes the old ways are good ways, he said, picking up a simple stethoscope. Here, let me show you how we listen to the heart without scanners. The alien doctors gathered around, their earlier superiority forgotten in their curiosity. Blue caught Walker's eye and smiled, a human expression she had learned from him. In that moment, Walker realized they were making history, not through grand gestures or advanced technology, but through simple human compassion and the willingness to learn from each other. 2 weeks after the crash, Dr. Walker sat with Blue in the outpost's small break room. She was strong enough now to move around, and they had fallen into a routine of evening talks. Tonight was different, though. Blue was finally ready to tell her story. My people are running, she said, her translator working to convert her musical language into English. Big war in home system. Many ships destroyed. Walker listened carefully as she described her escape. She had been a medical student on her home world, learning to operate their advanced healing machines. When the war came, she took a small ship and fled, hoping to reach the safe zones near Earth. Her ship's engine was damaged in an asteroid field, leading to her crash on Mars. Other aliens here know about war, she said, her purple eyes dimming with sadness. But rules say no help refugees. Too much. Political trouble. That's why they wouldn't treat you. Walker asked, feeling angry at such cold rules. Blue nodded. They fear problems with other species. Easier to ignore. But you? She reached out and touched his hand. You help anyway. No rules stop you. Walker smiled. We have a saying on Earth. Rules are meant to guide us, not blind us. The most important rule in medicine is simple: help those in need. Just then, the outpost's computer beeped. A message appeared on the screen, marked urgent. Walker read it, and his face turned serious. The Alien Council wants to meet with us tomorrow, he said. They're not happy about the young doctors learning human medicine. Blue stood up straighter, her antenna twitching with determination. Then we show them why they're wrong. I am proof human medicine works. The next morning, 5 senior alien officials arrived at the outpost. They looked out of place in the simple human facility, their elaborate robes contrasting with Walker's basic medical uniform. Dr. Walker, the lead official began, you have violated numerous protocols, teaching our medical practices to an unauthorized refugee, sharing human medical techniques with our doctors. This must stop. Walker was about to respond, but Blue stepped forward. She had dressed in a combination of human medical scrubs and her own cultural garments, a powerful symbol of unity. You are wrong, she said clearly, her translator projecting her voice strongly. I was dying. Your machines could not help, but human medicine, with its simple ways and deep understanding, saved me. She pulled out Walker's old medical textbook, now filled with her notes combining human and alien medical knowledge. Look what we learned together, she continued. Human ways teach us to think, not just follow machines. To feel, not just scan. To understand, not just obey. The youngest official moved closer, interested in the book. These methods, they are different from our training. Because we forgot how to heal without machines, Blue said. We became so advanced, we lost simple wisdom. Walker watched proudly as Blue explained how his basic human techniques had worked alongside their advanced technology. She showed them her treatment records, proving how the combination had succeeded where pure alien medicine had failed. The lead official listened silently, their expression unreadable. Finally, they spoke. Perhaps we have been too rigid in our thinking. Your survival is impressive. And these young doctors who learn human methods, they show promising results. Walker stepped forward. We're not asking to replace your medical technology. We're suggesting we learn from each other. Combine our knowledge. Blue nodded eagerly. I want to study both ways. Learn everything. Human medicine, alien technology. Make something new, something better. The officials huddled together, speaking in quiet tones. After what felt like hours, they turned back. We will allow this medical exchange to continue, under supervision, as a trial program. The lead official almost seemed to smile. Perhaps there is something to learn from human creativity. As the officials left, Blue turned to Walker with joy in her purple eyes. We did it. First step to change. Walker grinned. First of many. Now, ready for today's anatomy lesson. I think it's time you learned about the human digestive system. Blue picked up her notebook, ready to learn. Through the window, they could see several young alien doctors waiting outside, eager for their own lessons in human medicine. 3 weeks after Blue's crash, trouble arrived at Medical Outpost 7. Dr. Walker was in the middle of teaching a small group of young alien doctors about human first aid when 3 large military transport ships landed outside. This is Commander Rix of the Galactic Medical Authority. A harsh voice boomed through the outpost's speakers. You are ordered to cease all unauthorized medical training immediately. Blue, who was helping Walker demonstrate bandaging techniques, straightened up. Her blue skin paled slightly, but her voice remained steady. They found out about our classes. Walker looked at the scared faces of their alien students. In just a week, they had gathered quite a following. 15 young alien doctors who wanted to learn human medical practices. They met in secret, but secrets rarely stayed secret for long on Mars. "Everyone stay calm," Walker said, moving to the front door. Outside, 20 armed alien guards surrounded a tall figure in a gleaming white uniform. Commander Rix towered over Walker, their crystalline skin reflecting the Martian sunlight. "Your primitive medical practices pose a risk to our established protocols. This ends now." "With all respect, Commander," Walker replied firmly, "these doctors came here by choice. They want to learn. They are young and foolish. Human medicine is centuries behind our technology. What could they possibly learn from you?" Blue stepped forward, her translator projecting her voice clearly. "I will show you what we learn." She turned to one of the alien students. "Turn off all medical technology." The student deactivated their scanners and medical devices. Blue continued, "Now, how do you check if someone is breathing without machines?" The student smiled and placed their hand near Walker's mouth, just as they had learned. "Feel the air. Watch chest move. Use basic senses." Commander Rix's antenna twitched in annoyance. "Primitive techniques. Techniques that saved my life," Blue countered. "When your machines failed, when your advanced protocols said to let me die, this human doctor used these primitive methods to save me." More alien medical ships appeared in the sky, but something was different about these. They bore the markings of the civilian medical corps. An older alien doctor stepped out. Walker recognized them as the Chief Medical Officer of Mars. "Commander Rix," the Chief Medical Officer spoke, "we have reviewed the training programs being conducted here. The results are fascinating." They projected a hologram showing medical statistics. Students learning combined human-alien techniques show 30% better diagnostic skills when equipment fails. Their understanding of basic medical principles has improved significantly. Commander Rix's crystalline skin darkened. "This goes against all protocols." "Perhaps," the Chief Medical Officer replied. "It is time for protocols to change." More ships were landing now, human this time. Dr. Miller from Mars Central Hospital stepped out, along with representatives from other human medical facilities. "We've been watching Dr. Walker's program," Dr. Miller announced. "Every human medical facility on Mars supports this initiative. We're ready to start a full exchange program." The alien students gathered behind Walker and Blue, showing their support. One of them spoke up. "We are better doctors because we learn both ways. Human wisdom, alien technology. Together." Commander Rix looked at the united front of human and alien medical staff. Their rigid stance softened slightly. "The Council will need to review this." "They already have," the Chief Medical Officer said, displaying another hologram. "An official approval for the medical exchange program. It was signed an hour ago." Walker felt Blue's hand slip into his. She was smiling, a human expression she had perfected. "See," she said softly. "Sometimes it takes a storm to clear the air." As Commander Rix's ships departed, the human and alien doctors began mixing, sharing experiences and knowledge. Walker watched as his small teaching session turned into an impromptu medical conference right there in the Martian dust. "What happens now?" one of the students asked. Walker grinned. Now we really start learning from each other. And maybe, just maybe, we'll build something better than either of us had before." 1 month after Blue's crash, Medical Outpost 7 looked very different. The small human facility had grown, with new rooms added for teaching and practice. Today, Walker couldn't help but smile as he watched Blue lead her first official class. "Human body has many warning signs," she explained to a mixed group of human and alien medical students. No scanner needed to see pale skin, sweat, or rapid breathing. "Your eyes and hands are first tools." Walker remembered how nervous she had been about teaching. Now she moved confidently between students, demonstrating how to check vital signs without technology. Her own experience as a patient made her a powerful teacher. "Dr. Walker," a voice called. He turned to see one of the alien medical council members floating towards him. "We have news from the outer colonies. Word of your program has spread." They showed him a hologram map dotted with light points. Each light is a medical facility requesting to join the exchange program. Over 50 so far. Walker stared at the map in amazement. What had started with one injured alien girl had grown into something much bigger. Just then, his emergency alert buzzed. A mining accident in the northern district. Both human and alien miners trapped underground. "Blue," he called. "Emergency response team, now." She quickly organized their new joint medical team. 3 humans and 3 aliens. They loaded both traditional human medical kits and alien healing technology into the rescue vehicles. At the mine entrance, the rescue leader looked surprised to see the mixed team. "The tunnel's unstable. Our scanners can't get clear readings." "We don't need scanners to hear people calling for help," Blue said, adjusting her environment suit. "Human methods first, then technology." Inside the mine, they found why the scanners failed. Mineral deposits blocked most signals. The alien medics would have been helpless just a month ago. But now, they used human techniques, listening for sounds, looking for signs of movement, feeling for air currents. They found the miners in a side tunnel, 2 humans and 3 aliens, all injured. The human medics started basic first aid while the alien doctors set up their equipment. They worked together smoothly, each group's strengths covering the other's weaknesses. "This is why we need both," Blue said as they evacuated the last miner. "Technology alone fails. Human senses alone not enough. Together, we are better." Back at the outpost, Walker received another surprise visit. A group of alien doctors had arrived from Blue's home system. "We heard of your program," their leader said. "Our war creates many injured, and our machines cannot handle all cases. Will you teach us your methods?" Walker looked at Blue, who was still helping the rescued miners. "I think we can do better than that. We can show you how to combine both our knowledge." The alien doctors from Blue's world stayed to study. Soon, more came from other systems. Each brought their own medical knowledge to share. One evening, Walker found Blue in their new research lab. She was using a simple microscope alongside an alien molecular scanner. "Remember when they called human medicine primitive?" she asked, not looking up from her work. "Hard to forget," Walker replied. "It wasn't that long ago." Blue adjusted the microscope. "Look at this," she said. Through the lens, Walker saw something amazing. Blue had found a way to combine human blood cells with alien healing compounds. It was working better than either substance alone. "Sometimes primitive plus advance equals perfect," she said, smiling. Walker watched as more students, human and alien, filed into the outpost for evening classes. Each would take these lessons back to their own worlds, spreading this new combined medical knowledge across the galaxy. "You know," he said to Blue, "when I first found you in that crashed ship, I just wanted to save one life." Blue touched his arm gently. "Instead, you show us how to save many lives, all because you ignore rules and follow heart." Outside the window, the Martian sunset painted the sky red. More ships were landing, more doctors coming to learn. One small act of kindness had started something that was changing medicine across the stars. 6 months after Blue's crash landing, Dr. Walker stood in the new Mars Medical Academy's main hall. The building was a perfect blend of human and alien architecture, warm wooden walls filled with advanced healing technology. On the wall hung 2 items, his old medical textbook and the basic scanner that first mysterious alien doctor had given him. Blue stood beside him, wearing her new uniform, a combination of human doctor's white coat and traditional alien medical robes. Her translator was rarely needed now. She spoke English fluently. "Hard to believe this all started in your tiny outpost," she said, watching students flow through the halls. The academy had become the first official human-alien medical training center in the galaxy. Today was graduation day for their first class. 50 students, 20 humans and 30 aliens from various species, had completed the new combined medical program. Walker smiled as he remembered their journey. Remember when aliens thought human medicine was primitive? Now they fight for places in human medical classes. Blue laughed. She pointed to the latest application numbers on her tablet. Over 1,000 candidates for next year's program. The ceremony began with something new. A demonstration of emergency care. A team of human and alien students worked together, showing how they could handle any crisis with or without technology. Today marks a new chapter in medical history, the chief medical officer announced. These graduates are the first of a new kind of doctor. They understand both the wisdom of human hands-on healing and the power of advanced technology. As Walker watched the students receive their certificates, he noticed something remarkable. The aliens no longer floated above the ground as they once did, preferring to walk alongside their human colleagues. The humans, in turn, had learned to use alien medical technology as naturally as they used stethoscopes. Blue took the stage next. As the Academy's new deputy director, she had an announcement to make. "The war in my home system ended last week," she said, her voice clear and strong. "Thanks to our combined medical knowledge, we saved millions of lives." Both sides saw how working together was better than fighting. She activated a hologram showing a new medical ship design. These vessels will carry teams of human and alien doctors to crisis zones across the galaxy. They have everything from simple bandages to quantum healers. Walker felt pride swell in his chest as Blue continued. But most importantly, they carry the lesson we learned here, that the best medicine comes from combining our strengths, not dismissing our differences. After the ceremony, Walker found himself back in old Medical Outpost 7. The small facility was now a museum, preserved exactly as it had been the night Blue crashed. His coffee cup still sat on the desk where he'd left it that evening. "Feeling nostalgic?" Blue asked, joining him. "Just thinking," he replied. "All this happened because you crashed in the right place." Blue shook her head. "No, it happened because you chose to help when others wouldn't, because you showed us that advanced doesn't always mean better." They looked out the window at the new academy building gleaming in the distance. Students of all species walked its halls, learning to combine the best of all worlds. A small ship appeared in the sky. Another emergency rescue team heading out. Inside would be human and alien doctors, ready to face any crisis with both simple skills and advanced technology. "What's next?" Walker asked, though he already knew the answer. Blue smiled, her purple eyes bright with purpose. "We keep learning, keep teaching, keep showing the galaxy that the best way forward is together." As they walked back to the academy, Walker saw a young alien student teaching the human one how to use a scanner, while nearby a human doctor showed an alien group how to feel a pulse by hand. This was their legacy, not just saving one life on a dusty Martian evening, but creating a whole new way of healing. A way that proved that sometimes the most advanced civilization isn't the one with the best technology, but the one with the biggest heart. The end.